therefore, Easter was always a very, very vulnerable time. And here we are. The story is that the Jews are gathered around the Passover table, and they hear something outside. They hear some noise outside, and they go out and they see a sack full of blood and inside the body of a Christian child. And they knew what that meant. They knew that somebody was trying to libel them, and therefore they knew that there was a pending pogrom. And they went to the rabbi, chief rabbi Lo, in great fear. And they said, "Look, Rabbi, we got to do something quick because this is what we found, and we need protection right away." And what the rabbi does, he takes his two students. They take the Talmud, where in that part where it talks about a golem. And I'll tell you what a golem is. And they go to the river bank, and with the mud of the river, they start creating a golem. Now, what is a golem? The page in the Talmud talks. Golem in Hebrew means raw material. And the page in the Talmud says that men can build an artificial creation. Men can create a living organ. And that living organ can do anything that a person can do. Man can create man. That living organ, that golem, can do anything but speak, can't talk. And that page in the Talmud tells you how to create a golem. Now one can say, before I go into the story itself, why does the Talmud, that is a very rational book, why does it deal with such nonsense? Why would the Talmud mention how to create a living organ that can do anything but talk? What's the purpose? Well, the purpose, and this of course is, the Talmud doesn't say why it does it. This is all interpretation. But for basically philosophical reasons, we ask today the question, what is a human being? Why do we ask such a question? For example, when there is abortion, from what period, from what age of the fetus, right? Mm-hmm. Is what we're doing is murder? Until what stage is it medicine? Now these are philosophical questions, but that have a direct bearing on real life. In other words, from what time, from what development, from what stage is the fetus a human being? And they take this golem model, and based on this totally theoretical thing, they judge the limitations of what is a human being. For example, one of the things that eventually they will ask is golem fit for minyan? What is minyan? Minyan is 10 people. Jews can only pray when there's 10 men. And they ask, is a golem Jewish? Is a golem fit for prayer, to be counted as a prayer? In other words, the golem is a theoretical model by which they can examine the borders, the limits of what is a human being? How far does it go? From a scientific point of view, it's interesting that already at that time, that page in the Talmud was probably written in the 4th or 5th century AD. The knowledge of human physiology at that time was limited. Talking is the most sophisticated part of the human being. In other words, when you go into brain operations today, the most sophisticated, the most complex part of the human being, in other words, that has to take into account the physiology, but also all the brain operations, speaking is the most complex part. In other words, they got as close as possible in their theoretical model, building the model,